If you don't know yourself, then your fear is going to sabotage yourself and your relationships. I know you want to grow. I know you want to improve yourself, but you just keep making the same mistakes over and over again. You get frustrated, you get angry, and then you shut down, and you can see that you're just hurting the people that you love.
No shit.
The truth is, we are wired for fear, and that's not a bad thing. Fear keeps us alive and it keeps us intact. It's not that you have fear. It's how your fear shows up and how you react that sabotages you. Just like when you find yourself overreacting or shutting down to the slightest of insults, or when you feel like your partner or somebody is being critical of you. No one taught you how to deal with your fears. They just pumped you full of them, and then they sent you off into the world and said, good luck. So how do you figure out how to get to the root of your fears? Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and bell button, and please share this with anybody you think who needs to hear this message. First of all, I need to talk to the men out there. Guys, I know that you are probably immediately turned off by any mention of the word fear.
Defensive? Who's being defensive? I'm not being defensive.
Like we are afraid of anything. I get it. We were programmed to not be afraid, to have no fear, that fear is weak. Well, listen, if you can admit that you're defensive or you're shut down, or you can see that you're struggling with your relationships and your reactivity in them, then you need to put the macho bullshit down and listen up.
You get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Look to the men that you admire. Look to how they have recognized their fears, disciplined themselves, and overcome them, both internal and external. In fact, it takes a significant amount of courage and bravery to face the man in the mirror. So let's do that together. Ladies, you too. First of all, we need to understand how your fears are formed and get past the superficial ways that we kind of think about fear. This goes all the way back to childhood. Oh God, not childhood again. I know, I can hear it already. Believe me, if you're going to be resistant to exploring your childhood, then you are completely missing the boat. And this is why you're going to stay stuck in your relationships and in your reactivity, because you are not willing to look at that. Yeah, but why? Because childhood is where we were programmed. This is where we lived for 18 years of our lives. And this is where we're the most vulnerable, helpless, and dependent. This was also a time when our brains were the most open to learning. So we're constantly absorbing information about what keeps us safe, how life works, who we are. And fear was a big part of that learning process. We learned about ourselves from our caregivers and their reactions to us. Our parents' reactions to making messes, yelling in the house, playing with our friends, playing with our siblings, putting things away, how we dress.
Metallica, noise.
Whether or not we're athletic, whether we're a good student, on and on and on and on, we got these messages. Specifically, whether or not our parents cared for us, whether they're there for us, if they supported us, if they disapproved of us, or if they abused us. So the list is long, and it happened so many different times. All of this was subject to your parents' reactions, their opinions, their feelings, and all of that was based on their emotional and mental health. Now, I'm not looking to blame mom and dad. We are just simply looking at your childhood to figure out what was, to just understand that this is what was going on. Matter of fact. So we need to understand the dysfunctional messages that got programmed into you in order for you to understand how to stop sabotaging your life. Knowing these messages is vital to your growth and your transformation. Remember, the messages were both explicit and implicit. Kind of like when mom would say things like, why can't you be more like your sister? She gets straight A's. You're never going to amount to anything if you can't get past high school. Damn. That's explicit. Or when dad would give you that look when you were being silly and playing with your friends, implying that real men don't act that way.
1, 2, 3, 4, gehen wir mit dem Schiessgewehr.
The fear-based messaging either hit you like a brick, or it may have been so subtle that you barely even noticed it. This program came from repeated interactions, observations, and emotional responses from both mom and dad to you and from you to mom and dad. So you had a tendency to test them. All of us did. And we watched their responses to see what's okay and what's not okay. All of these interactions got internalized based on what you made things mean, and these became your fears and your insecurities, or your dysfunctional beliefs about yourself, other people, and how the world works. These might sound like, I can't do anything right, I'm not good enough, no one loves me, no one's there for me, I have to keep everybody happy. That's all my fault. So these kinds of beliefs that get formed from these thousands of interactions throughout your childhood, they don't just pop up out of nowhere. They are taught to you by implicit and explicit messaging in your childhood. When they form in your childhood, the more you keep telling yourself these stories, the more these start to become your truth. And that's when they become beliefs, specifically dysfunctional beliefs. So when psychologists talk about facing your fears, this is what they're talking about.
Oh, I get it! I get it! Oh!
Facing your programming, facing the things that are underneath what you're conscious of, your unconscious beliefs that are driving your behavior, driving your emotions and your reactions, along with the decisions that you make in your everyday life. These are key to understanding if you're going to learn how to stop sabotaging yourself and get on a healthy path. So when my wife is upset with me and I'm acting defensively and I'm trying to protect myself from this painful belief that I can't do anything right, yes. And in that process, you are being defensive, you're actually invalidating her feelings. You end up hurting her, and you make the belief that you can't do anything right actually come true. So you see, when we don't know what our fears are, these unconscious beliefs, we react to them instinctively to stay safe. And our nervous system uses 4 responses to do that: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So we sabotage ourselves when we react to our unconscious fears by using one of those survival instincts, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, inappropriately. This is at the core of your reactivity. Your wife should be able to talk to you and be able to tell you about something that she is hurt by when you've done something to hurt her. She doesn't need a partner who turns it around on her, blames her, invalidates her. She wants a partner who is open and who is willing to hear and is curious and takes responsibility for himself.
Oh, hell yeah!
So it is your unconscious belief that keeps triggering you and makes your reactivity go, which is the reason why you keep fucking things up. So I keep trying to change my reactions and stop myself from getting defensive, but you're telling me that I'm working on the wrong things? Yes. Reason why is because you're trying to change the behavior, and the behavior is being run by the beliefs. Rather than looking at the unconscious beliefs that are driving the behavior, you keep trying to shift your behavior around, and that is working on the wrong things. And listen, you're not trying to do it. It's happening automatically, which is why reactivity is so hard to change and slowly poisons your relationship over time. It's not about doing better. It's about being better. Think about it like this. If you're wanting to learn to play a sport, you know that you're going to have to develop skills to be able to play that sport well. Learning and practicing the skills is just one part of the equation of becoming a good basketball player. So what are the other parts? It's everything behind the scenes. It's the understanding the philosophy of the sport, the strategy. It's understanding how to be a good teammate. It's understanding how to work together. Everything that is based on the beliefs and the philosophy that goes on behind the sport. Knowing the beliefs allows you to know what to do. Breaking reactive patterns requires that you get in touch with these fear-based beliefs in order to learn how to have skills to correct them. By doing this, you become a far more mature and disciplined adult who is capable of learning the skills and learning the beliefs to become safe for himself and everyone he loves. If you want to learn more, you can take my free masterclass, or you can sign up for a discovery call if you want to get started today. To understand more about toxic and dysfunctional behavior, check out this video. And I hope this was really helpful. Thanks for watching.